This is an amazing conversation to be having. This is in the 2X chromosomes, and the woman asked, how did you get over someone that you thought you couldn't get over? She says, please don't suggest therapy because I can't afford it, lol, and my ears are tired of listening to music. What other things did you do? I'm distancing myself, but I find myself constantly thinking about him 24/7. I just really want to move on, but nothing I do is helping, and the more I try to shut him out of my head, the more I think about him. At this point, I honestly just want to move on. Help. This is an amazing comment, and I believe that this will help a lot of people. She says, therapist here. Figure out the hook that you're caught on. This is a meaningful thing to do because you will repeat this pattern with other partners in the future. Whatever unfinished business you have in your childhood, you're going to replicate in these situations. It's what we all do. She says, start by asking yourself, what kind of love did I get in childhood? What kind of love was I secretly pining for? What did I have to do to be loved? What did I have to cut off to be loved? How is this love object similar to one of my parents? How does he or she make me feel? What am I striving for? What am I desperate for? For example, I used to get hooked on guys who were a puzzle box. They will keep their emotional thoughts or feelings way back inside them and only let out the bare minimum. I got so hooked into finding the right formula to get them to magically open up and see me and value me and give all the love that I somehow knew was in there. Of course, that's a wishful thinking fantasy. No one can unlock another person, and it's not my job as an adult. The dude has to figure out what he's feeling and thinking and open up his goddamn mouth and communicate it, i.e., grow the F up. So, who do I want to grow the F up and learn to speak? Well, that's my dad, and there we go. We need to heal the past and feel our own feelings about that parent that made you feel, in my case, striving and yearning for closeness from an emotionally unavailable and immature partner. So I was attracted to those guys. That's all I sought, evidently. I was on a mission to fix the past and get the love that would have fixed the past. My own eyes were blind to the other types of guys, as my attraction vibes were completely lasered onto the frustrating puzzle box guys. I had to get mad, sad, give myself the love I had been missing. I had desperately wanted that puzzle box dude to wake up and see me, and instead I had to wake up and see me. Figure out what the hook is keeping you caught. What's the bait that you can't walk away from? Have you done this before in previous relationships? She says you can do some of the work of therapy with resources on the internet. There are plenty of videos explaining attachment theory and relationship theory. Attachment theory is a great place to start. My guess is you're an anxiously attached person and attracted to avoidantly attached partners. It's sometimes called the distancer pursuer relationship, but just a guess. Good luck. And this is where someone tagged me and told me to come see this. I am BurbNBougie on Reddit, and I have a BurbNBougie subreddit, so you can find me over there. Okay, Hovercraft says, this is brilliant. I used to fall hard for the guys who seemed to offer me stability because I had none growing up. I eventually realized the only way to be happy is to make sure I cultivate my own stability, and that was much easier once I decentered men. And now I have the stability in my life, and I'm happier than I have ever been in a long time. Then the OP says, this is amazing. I swear I see why I get attached to men who don't get attached to me, I guess. As a child, I was given away to my uncle and aunt to raise because my parents were too poor to do it. I was the child that never got hugs, attention, or any form of love, and the little attention I would get from my auntie and uncle was always after I had done something good, like clean the dishes or something, and my reward would be little compliments, and I held on to those. I think that's why I'm always attached to guys who show so little attention. The more they show no sign of any affection, the more I chase after them, and it just ends up a whole big mess. Thank you so much for your comment because I think I'm finally getting to the root of my attachment issues. This is an amazing thread so far. So please bear with the people who can't seem to shake these men. Sometimes they need a little nugget like is being provided in this commentary. This person says block him on everything. Do not social stalk him or anyone else he knows. And every time you think of him, redirect your thoughts to do better things in your life. This person says first, block him on everything and Resist any temptation to stalk their socials. This is the biggest mistake and will set you back each time you do it. The best thing you can do to move on is keep yourself busy. The absolute worst thing to do is to be alone in your thoughts. Hanging out more with friends is really beneficial as it helps to bring you out of your head and to think and focus on something besides that person. Let your friends know that you're struggling with this, and hopefully, they'll be better able to be a little more proactive with giving you company and making sure you're doing all right. Additionally, try to meet new people. There's a chance you make new friends who will make you completely forget about the other person. Rare, but it can happen. When your friends aren't available, I highly recommend doing physical activities as it's well known to boost your mood. Personally, I found it helpful to tire me out to prevent me from staying up too late at night, being alone in thought. Picking up new hobbies is also helpful since you'll likely have to put in a significant amount of focus into it that'll help with the process of moving on. For me, I personally picked up skateboarding and photography since both require an element of physical activity and focus. Aside from this, talk about your emotions and even cry if you need to. It's part of the healing process, and bottling that up will only slow down that process. I've been through this process recently and I know how difficult it can be. If you feel like you need someone to talk to, feel free to message me. Wish you the best, OP. I love how social media is like a big old girl chat. And it just seems like so many women are coming to the aid of other women, and I love it here. Okay, Hovercraft says, I had to go completely no contact. I had to set boundaries with my friends that I just don't want to hear about him at all. And then one night we got high and decided to make a list of pros and cons, old school style, on a piece of paper. The pros were physically attractive, really good in bed, buys me plane tickets. The cons were workaholic, worst breath I have ever encountered in my life, boring, fan of sports ball, gym bro. Then I decided to really latch on to the bad breath part because it was awful. I didn't hold it against him when we were dating because I could tell he was trying. He even had a tooth scraper in his bathroom along with dental floss and mouthwash. It was probably an ulcer, but I didn't know stuff like that at the time, or I would have suggested a stomach scope. Whenever I thought I missed him, I would think about the bath breaths. And I would think about the boring, boring hours I spent watching freaking sports with him, waiting for it to be over so we could have sex. I also wanted to add that it helps me when I remind myself of the dudes I used to cry about, who I'm completely over now, the ones that are embarrassing to think about later. Yep, I cried thinking about those guys, and now I don't even know what I was thinking. You will get there. This is some amazing stuff, and I hope that that you that are watching this felt compelled to either drop a comment or you can see yourself just a little bit in one of those comments. Like, comment, share. This was posted in my BurbNBougie subreddit, and I believe that periodically we have to hear the words of a man. We just have to periodically so you can understand what they're thinking. You don't have to react. Periodically, you could just take a screenshot and give it to me so that we can remember how they talk about us and where they want us to be in the boxes they expect us to stay within. He says, ladies, if your man is angry at you or something you did, talking to you as a woman who knows her place, all you should do is keep quiet, hold your hands at your back, bow your head, and listen. That shows you respect your man. You submit to his authority. Replying back and every other nonsense that only highlights your poor upbringing and lack of manners. There's nothing empowering about confronting your man. Your man is like a father figure in your life. He is there to guide you and correct you when you err. If you can do it for your boss at work, why not with your man? After all, he is above your boss and more important than him. Oh, and once he is done talking, you say, thank you. Learn or perish. These dudes are wild. It's no wonder the West 4B movement is picking up steam. They need to just be separated. They gotta go. And yes, you can just stop talking to them. Like this, I'm going to reread this. I put it in another video, but I'm going to read it again. This is called The Great Reset, and the woman that started this West 4B movement, her name is Supreme. She said, yesterday you called us loose ladies of the night. Tomorrow you won't be able to. Yesterday you called us bitter baby mamas. Tomorrow you won't be able to. Yesterday you took us out on a $20 date and complained when we would not sleep with you. Tomorrow you won't be able to. Yesterday you complained about marriage. Tomorrow you won't I'm sorry, tomorrow we won't want your ring. So just keep this in mind. Ladies, you don't have to go back and forth with these people. Just take yourself out of the situation. Okay, so for some of the comments under my post, this person says, I'd expect my man to pay me $75,000 a year for that then, just like my boss. And Giselle says, perish by his hand. So you mean to tell me if he is going through mood swings and proceeds to strangle you to keep quiet? People are getting ridiculous with the submission thing. At this point, they mean Stepford wife. Thank you. Sounds like marriage is slavery. No thanks. People are making marriage sounds like you need to be a slave and he could do whatever to you, talk to you crazy. Don't we forget some of these men scream at you for no reason and act like everything is your fault or lecture you as if he's the boss. This is a relationship, not the military. Big Ad says, he can pay for one of those if he wants one so bad. I'm not sure why other human beings feel they need to be bowed to. It's screaming God complex. This person says, this sounds like someone who thinks he's a dom. F these guys. I mean, not literally, of course. This person says, I can take comfort knowing a man like this wouldn't dare approach me. He would be picking his teeth up off the floor. And that is where we will end that. And like I said, sometimes just in teeny tiny bits, you need to hear and understand what they are saying so you can know who to avoid, who to see and run quickly from. Just run. Big headache, big stress. You don't want that. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. This woman is looking for the advice, even though she's in the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Let's get into it. She says, my boyfriend of 4 years just told me he has no plans of settling down anytime soon. She says, sorry for the long post. I, 27-year-old woman, have been dating my boyfriend Wes, who's 31, for the last 4 years. We started dating in 2020 when both of us had just graduated from university. He was charming, kind, funny, and made me feel beautiful and safe. I knew that I had found the love of my life and the best friend in him. We often talked about our future, and he asked me what I wanted from a relationship, and I told him I hoped to get married sometime after I turned 26, and then enjoy 1 to 2 years in my marriage before having kids. But I hope to have or be expecting my first baby before 30. He shared his dreams with me, and we often had discussions about the future, the family, and the home we hope to build together. Wes was able to find a good job that paid above average in our country, not the USA. He continued staying with his parents and was able to get himself his dream car and spend money on a lot of fun times with me and his friends. I struggled to get a job and was only able to find one late last year, which isn't a great job, pay above average, but not great. But I was glad to have something to do. I moved out of my family home and into a one-bedroom house that I love so much, and I'm slowly trying to build my life and some savings whilst working to build a business on the side. Wes recently started talking about moving out of his family home, but he wants to move into a big house with great furniture. So it has been putting a lot of pressure on him financially because things are so expensive with our country's economic situation. Last week we were having a chat and it drifted to a conversation about our plans. Wes then told me I do not see myself getting married this year or next year. I don't know if I will be ready the other year either because I am not where I want to be in life. This came as a shock to me, and I reminded him of the conversation we had at the start of the relationship, and he said he'd never forgotten what I said. I stepped into the bathroom and cried a bit because I was really hurt and surprised by his words. This is a man who asked me my plans and went on to date me. Combined, we make good money and would have a comfortable life and can afford a few vacations while being able to save some money. So I'm doubting if this is about finances like he claims. I feel hurt and confused about the whole situation. Do I wait for him? What happens if he still feels the same way years from now? I don't want to press the issue further because it seems like I am forcing him to do something he doesn't want to do. The thought of dating for another 2 years without the joy of settling down in motherhood is really taking a toll on me. What do I do, Reddit? Update. When he asked about my plan, he told me that the timing was good enough for us to build our lives and get to know each other better. During the 4 years, he would casually mention so and so many years until you're 26. So I believed that we were on the same page. I do love my boyfriend, but I hope to build a family only after marriage. There is no guarantee that his mind will change after 2 years, and that's where my concern is. This is a different conversation to have with him because it will most likely be seen as me trying to force him to change his mind, which is something I don't want. I want us to each be able to make our own decisions about life right now. Absolutely. Don't try to push him to do anything he doesn't want to do. That is where resentment comes. If he's not ready and on the same page and you are ready, you know your timetable, you know that you've stuck around for a while, then you have to make the best decision for yourself. Okay, some of the comments. Are you asking him to spend a ridiculous amount on a ring, like 3 months' salary? And she says, no, I never did ask for an expensive ring, and I have not asked for a fancy wedding either. I just had the hope of building a life and future together as partners. He buys expensive things, and I have expressed that the cost of something isn't what makes me happy, but the thought behind it. My favorite gifts are a bunch of do it yourself cards that he made for me. And then the person responded with, sorry to tell you, but he clearly isn't interested in marriage or he doesn't find it as important as it is to you. I would have a serious talk with him. To be honest, though, I would just cut my losses and find someone who wants to marry you, especially at your age as a woman, no offense. He's had plenty of time to become financially independent and is clearly wasted on toys. I want nice things too, but I almost think of my fiance. No, I'm sorry. I guess he meant to say I always think of my fiance first. Okay, this person says, I was there. My boyfriend had the exact answer. He was waiting to get a specific position at his job to feel secure. Then he said he has to drop everything and try to make something on his own. Then he had to start over in another company, then back to the first one, but demoted, so the circle started again. We also had the conversation yearly for 4 years. Each year he was telling me next year. Well, after a few years and all of our social circle being engaged and married, he proposed. In 4 months, I'm getting married. Not to this guy, though. When we were quite close to the date, with deposits towards the vendors and having a house to buy secured, he decided that maybe he is in a good place to get married, but not to me, and broke things off. Now I'm with the love of my life. It took him a year to know if he wants to marry me, despite problems and issues, despite all. If marriage is important to you, it may be time to find someone else because for that, I believe it is if two people want to be together and get married, they look for ways to do it. But if one of them don't want to, he or she looks for excuses. And the OP says, thank you for this. This person says, update us when you dump him. And then this is the final screenshot I took. May I ask, did you talk about your expectations for your future and living together before you moved into your apartment? It seems like you have both had very different ideas and have been functioning independently without any real plan of working together for the future. Do you share any joint responsibilities together? And the OP said, we had discussions of both of us moving out of our family homes to gain some independence as individuals. The marriage would only come in after some time. He has been putting off the idea of moving out of his family home for years, and he is financially able to. He recently told me that he became too comfortable staying with his parents and now doesn't want to start his life alone from a smaller house because he is grown. So that is that. You guys go ahead, weigh in. Let me know what you think about this. I think that she should cut her losses and move on because if the guy wanted to be with her, he would. She wouldn't have to goad him or keep asking questions. He would be on the same page. But you guys let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, share. And if you made it this far, go ahead and hit subscribe.